My name is Callista, and I am in grade 12, and I also have questions for you. So my first one is, what kind of work did your bishop assign to you?
Well, I remember being called in just as I'd finished my seminary studies, and I was just about ready to be ordained. The bishop called me in. He said, after I ordain you, I'm going to send you to St. Joseph's Parish in Chatham, Ontario. And I was somewhat quite happy. I mean, I kind of knew where this parish was. It's downtown. It was really in a poor section of the city. And so I looked forward to it. And so I was involved in, the parish activities of celebrating Mass, of celebrating the sacraments, going into the school. There was a school right beside the church. And I really was involved in the school. I kind of enjoyed going in and doing that pastoral ministry. I also got involved in starting a food bank. I worked with a lot of people beyond the Catholic parish, and we formed a committee, and we actually established the first food bank in Chatham, Ontario. And so seeing people work together to serve the needs of others was always something that was kind of important as a priest. My first love has always been the parish. And so I was there for 3 years. And it was the only parish I ever served in as a priest. So it's always been my first parish, and as we often say, my first love. So, yeah.
My second question is, what is it really like being a bishop?
Well, it's a good question. I think we sort of live into our vocations and our responsibility. When I first said yes to the Holy Father, who was then Pope Benedict, I did it with some sense of anticipation, but also not reservation, but the fear of the unknown. And so I did say yes, and I had promised obedience as a priest, and it was something that I realized if I said yes, then in many ways God sort of is there with our decisions when we are making those decisions, knowing maybe it's His will. And so I thought and prayed that it was His will, so I said yes. When I think about being a bishop, I think about being a pastor of many parishes. I see a bishop as someone who supports people who are doing ministry, whether that be priests or the lay people in the parishes. I also see it as supporting other Catholic institutions, whether it be the schools, the universities. So there's a broad kind of responsibility pastorally for a bishop beyond just being a parish priest. And I think too it's really using the image that we find in Scripture where Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. And so I think a bishop has to take that to heart. He has to sort of understand his role as being someone who cares, takes responsibility for leadership, encouragement, things like that. So I kind of see that image in Scripture, and I try and reflect that, I guess, in the way that I exercise and live my ministry as a bishop here in Calgary.